Of the private sector admit that coronavirus outbreak and its control measures have had adverse effects on their businesses. Some traders acknowledge that such economic setback has also forced them to restructure their loan repayment plan. We transport foreign tourists, but now we are not working because movements are restricted. Our cars are parked. Taxes should be suspended because we are not working, and we need advocacy in banking sector to restructure our loans. There is little to do these days. No meetings, no movements in the country. The challenge is with repaying the loans. Tax revenue collections have significantly dropped, and this has also been attributed to coronavirus outbreak and its resultant effects. Finance Minister Athan says that total tax revenue collections are projected to reduce to 1,605.7 billion Rwandan francs in 2020-2021, which is 21.3% short of 2,040.8 billion Rwandan francs projected in 2019-2020 budget. Professor Bizoza Alfred, economics professor, breaks down coronavirus outbreak and its effects on economic growth and lending.
Cyambere n'uburyo bwo kugabanya ingaruka za COVID-19.
The first thing is to reduce the impact of COVID-19 and the resultant effects. There has also been the need to pay attention to social protection support, which has increased with the outbreak of the virus. The 2020-2021 fiscal year budget will be financed through domestic revenues worth 1,969.8 billion Rwandan francs, representing 60.7% of the entire budget. The remainder of the budget will be funded through external resources worth 1,275.9 billion Rwandan francs, which accounts for 39.3% of the total budget. These include grants worth 492.5 billion Rwandan francs and loans worth 783.4 billion Rwandan francs. The budget will pay attention to 70% of the gaps which were highlighted by legislators in the budget framework paper and mid-term budget estimates. Chairperson of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on National Budget and Patrimony, Professor Omar Munyaneza, says this as an indication of the government's strong will to revamp the economy devastated by COVID-19 crisis.
Amafaranga menshi yashyizwe mu buhinzi.
Agriculture sector has been allocated a lot of money. As you all know, during COVID-19 lockdown, it was discovered that one sector has supported the continuity of life, and that was food. The other was health. About 60% of gaps worth 216 billion Rwandan francs were identified in the budget, but all these gaps have been covered with a budget of 157.8 billion Rwandan francs, which represents 73% of the funds we had asked the government to support essential sectors. Meanwhile, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning, Dr. Athan, while reading the national budget for the next fiscal year, says that Rwanda's economic growth is expected to slow to 2% this year from 9.4% in 2019 due to the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. The fiscal policy for 2020-2021 will be in line with COVID-19 economic recovery plan and regional strategy as adopted by East African heads of state. Focus will be on increasing health-related spending to contain the epidemic and to strengthen the health system, scaling up social protection, strengthening the education sector, as well as supporting private sector through economic recovery fund. Government will spend 3,245.7 billion Rwandan francs in the 2020-2021 fiscal year, an increase of 228.6 billion Rwandan francs compared to 2019-2020 revised budget.